I can't wait to dive into the narrative of this song, though as I've confessed to you before, I'm not the most adept or experienced in knowledge, perhaps, by comparison, I'm sure, to a number of you music fans, especially in the European metal landscape, and many of you know how much I revere that space. I'm not as familiarized of European history or culture, so if the Water Dancer has any significant nature beyond just a fancy name, and something that certainly blends with the fantasy angle of what Frozen Crown employs in tone and in imaginings of their works, I wouldn't know. But I welcome clarification down below if there is a bit of a deeper meaning. But it really is an embrace of a name, quite frankly. I think it's rather fancy and certainly alluring on its face. And if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, well, you've tempted and at least given me, the feeling of an exquisite track. And we'll, of course, judge that together. But I would imagine, based on faith, and this being the 11th work I've consulted with all of you publicly for the first time regarding Frozen Crown, I'm sure it'll be just as enjoyable as every past track I've entertained from them. Because, again, Frozen Crown is a talent that I absolutely love. And if you've never entertained them before, and this is perhaps a first introduction for you, I think you will too, especially if you're a metalhead fan. And I can't say it enough, if you haven't ventured in the European space, you need to. And I will say even more specifically than that, Italy seems to be a great hotspot for different metal variations. As I've said, with some familiarity and some that will be evolving in the future. Volturian was my first point of entry, and that's how, in fact, I came to Frozen Crown. They're Italian modern metal, if you're not familiar, and then I found Frozen Crown power metal. And soon, at some point, I've got so many groups I have to consult, many of which you've recommended, and I'm keeping your recommendations all on a master list that seems to grow by every video I publish. You guys give me a substantial library of names, and as I say many times, God willing, we'll get to hopefully every one of them. We'll see. Anyway, I don't mind, I don't mind every recommendation, because I found so many new talents that are exquisite and top-tier favorites for me based on your recommendations. Or perhaps some of the segues I've taken maybe on an initial recommendation, perhaps, and then finding all these connection points. And that's how, again, like I said, I came across Frozen Crown in the beginning with Volturian, through the In a Heartbeat collaboration between the lead vocalist there on part of Giada Jade Etro, the front lady, if you're not familiar with Frozen Crown, and Volturian's front lady, Federica Lana. And then, of course, there's other connection points as well that, as I said, will evolve into the future. Be the Wolf. That's coming. Again, of the hard rock Italian variety, apparently. And Federico Mondelli is sort of the Fred, the lead guitarist here that connects, and supporting vocalist that connects every group to one another in this trifecta, as I call it. But it's been wonderful to engage with a group like Frozen Crown, especially on a first glance, and enjoy every piece with you. I truly believe music is one of those fun, one of the best art forms to have shared experiences with. It's really this channel in large part is. And maybe, again, I take a broader focus in a variety of different entertainment ventures, but as I've said many times, music for me, first passion, central first love in my life, has been for a number of years and has the deepest connection amid any of the art forms I routinely spotlight or have since the beginning. And it's been a long-standing ambition since I founded this channel to bring music on into a grander presence. And over 2023, this is evolving beautifully. And I'm so happy to see the trajectory going forward. And I really can't wait to explore this into deep. It's quickly usurping all the other content I've normally produced on a more routine basis. It's funny, but it's my favorite content to make. It's very much a passion project for me. And the experience of enjoying truly exquisite art, quite frankly, which in some ventures where maybe in other entertainment facets, and not always, but, you could certainly bring testament and examples of what I've cited in the past amid other landscapes that I've been like, well, maybe these projects are floundering, at least in energy and connection for me, whereas music is not. There's not been a track on this channel that I've not enjoyed humoring, especially with all of you, who perhaps are approaching my videos at a variety of different angles. Maybe you're a long-time Frozen Crown fan, right? And you're very well knowledgeable in your talents, and so you're getting the unique perspective of somebody who, again, is very fresh in his days and much younger in age of being a loyal fan by comparison to a number of you. And maybe some of you have heard the name, but you've never entertained their works, or you've never heard of Frozen Crown at all. And I do hope there are some of you that are approaching my content in that respect, and it's truly, again, like I said, a central ambition of mine that's kind of evolved after my grand ambition of just bringing music on, period. It's funny to see how many other priorities that come up, but when music allows, there's a real freedom to it, and it's a creativity of how it can best apply itself in people's lives. And I found with my channel and covering music with all of you, the goals that have emerged, especially if I in any way can send somebody on a path of exquisite music. Maybe you're somebody that's been longing to hear good groups and you just don't happen to know many destination points of where you truly feel like, oh, my heart's just longing to hear this talent, but it's not in this space, right? As I've said many times, Europe is like the hotspot. visit it. Maybe if you can afford it, perhaps literally. I've never been there, and I hope to. I'd love to be able to go, just be like, I can go to all these people's concerts who have been spotlighted lately, because they're all just great. I'd love to be at a live show and hopefully get to meet some of the artists. I mean, they truly are just great people, especially as artists. They're wonderful to entertain. But I do hope for some of you, again, that if I can, I'm fostering paths for you to explore good art, maybe of what you've been hoping for and wanting to be satisfied by. And Frozen Crown, 100%. I've been satisfied by every offering that we've entertained on this channel thus far. And on Winterbane, after consulting 4 tracks on each album of their previous releases, being The Fallen King and Crown and Frost, Winterbane is just as enjoyable. Even amid the new lineup of some new members coming on, it's still, and they all sound great, but I'm not saying that in any way as a diss. As many of you know, if you consult my past coverage of this album, the first 2 tracks, Embrace the Night and Far Beyond, it is truly amazing again as well to see groups evolve in their presence over time. And Frozen Crown is taking a bit of a familiar / refreshed and evolved presence with this album. It's truly interesting to hear it. And I'm curious to see again, like I said, where the Water Dancer goes. It's such a tantalizing name. The vision's already intriguing me. Let's entertain this together and enjoy it for ourselves. Whether you happen to be already familiar with this track or this is going to be a new introduction for you, very much like it is for me. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the music video that we have alongside the song that we get to entertain. And if you're not familiar with my coverage, maybe my content's a first introduction for you. As I always say, I try and accommodate listener taste to the best extent that I can. So if you're someone that likes to read along like me with the narrative of the piece and see the manifestation of the tale of the Water Dancer unfold, I will have the lyrics available for you in the video feed. You'll see them pop up in a second as soon as the song / video reveals itself. Softer tonality, especially on the intro, but I like it. Just a sweeping... There's the intensity. Like, there's going to be a jump any minute now. But it was a wonderful entry path. Where do they find those wolves? Those are gorgeous animals. And always captivating presentations from every European group I watch. Giada's vocals again on this album, 3 tracks in. Seamlessly intoxicating. How did they get this close to the wolves without them attacking? I know, wolves are pretty, but it's like, they're still, you know... I'd still be a bit timid, admittedly. Great energy of the chorus. I love the scope of it. This definitely, even amid the rougher basis and the heavy riffs, it has a real, like, sing-song type fantasy vibe, like I said. Maybe not those words, but it's amazing. It really feels like a storytelling song. It's so interesting. I'm trying to think if Giada's voice is taken on that softer pitch. Maybe in the past albums and from just what I haven't heard yet in full, because I'm still making my way through, but from the selection, this is comparatively much softer, a little more faint, but intentionally and great in that respect. It's not as fierce in specific sections. Adds a nice differentiation. We're back to that opening interlude. And like I said, if you're familiar with Volturion, there's a shade of their music coming in as well from the electronic side. On select tracks, but it is there. So entertaining. Like I said, faintness, you hear that? It just sounds different from Giada from what I've heard. Her voice really just has so much presence to it. Beautifully encompassing. It feels like every space in which the song has to experiment around is filled. They had to work some dominant riffs in there, didn't they? Great place for it too, especially as we near the conclusion. Just think about a minute to go, a little over. Let it linger. I like it. Nice drop, too, of all the different instruments on that. Isolate her voice. It's wonderful as a transition. And exquisite presentations as always. I love the video quality. It always just is fun to watch. And that tune definitely sweeps you. Like I said, even in the lyric writing, and I imagined it would be this way, not having read them in depth going in, there's a storytelling vibe that I haven't seen as... I've seen it, but... I mean, it's strong writing, lyrically speaking, from every track I've consulted at this point and what I've driven into with them. But this song has much more of a storytelling, fantasy, sing-song vibe emphasized. Like, I think maybe some of the tales that I read, from, again, I don't know about European culture. I'm operating from, American over here. And we're a bit of a melting pot, true, fair. But, I think of the stuff I grew up with as a kid. And this reminds me, like, it's not specifically a nostalgic release to I'm thinking of this particular fantasy story, but yet the energy of the song, I'm just really moved by it. Like, it comes across to me as something very reminiscent in emotion. When I hear it, I'm like, this reminds me of like some, children's book story in a way. And I know probably it's not. It's maybe going for something, again, a bit more grand and less childlike, but it has that type of feeling to it. Where as a kid, maybe I don't remember the stories all specifically, but I remember that elation and that imagining. I sense it mirrored here, not just in lyric writing as well, but in presentation. I mean, even the video has a fantasy dream quality to it. And again, those are wolves, right? Yeah, I think they're wolves. I thought from it in the background, I'm like, are those huskies? Like, if I'm going to get wrong, I'm going to look like the biggest idiot. I think they're wolves. Yeah, they look like wolves to me. Wolves are so beautiful. Like, they're one of my favorite animals. And I know for many people that also applies as well. I mean, they're truly, I say, one of God's most majestic natural majesties, in my opinion, of what we have in terms of animal species. They're just beautiful. Though you don't want to, like, I'm surprised, like, how did they manage to get near one? Like, maybe they were filming some sort of, like, nature documentary at the same time, and they gave some money to the film crew or something, like, here, get some footage for us. I don't know. Or maybe this is normal in Italy, that everybody's like, maybe the wolves are nicer over there. I mean, again, you wouldn't want to harm all these European talents at all. So maybe all the animals in America might be, a bit more treacherous and not take the grandest of likings to humans. Maybe the wolves over there are like, hey, I'll pose for a music video. I'll stare right into the camera, just enamor everybody with my beauty. It's truly exquisite. I mean, again, like I said, these presentations, especially on part of Frozen Crown, always enjoyable to watch. But I feel like the cinematography here, honestly, is the richest for me in performance. Like, well, I'd say it's actually to the level of, I'd say it's maybe on even pairing, because I like the cinematography quality to Battle in the Night, or Battles in the Night? I think it's Battles in the plural form. I really like that song. That one's an exquisite piece. Again, maybe this is the first introduction for you to Frozen Crown. I highly recommend that one, as well as stuff from their past library, generally speaking. Even stuff I haven't entertained yet, I imagine it's all good. Anywho, like, 100%, I'm acting on faith here, because based on all these samples, I'm like, yeah, all of it's great. I just have to go entertain it myself. It's exquisite in terms of a piece. I love the pacing of it. Again, like I said, softer tone. It feels different. Again, it plays into that fantasy energy with, of course, the familiar effects on part of the riffs and the blending and all the guitar work. And Giada Jade Etro's vocal talents. I have not heard it get that intentionally dainty and soft in the past. I mean, that feels, like I said, every song so far, from what I can see, there's always this new glance to it. And I always try and find that type of identifier if I can to best differentiate works. As a point, especially for conversation and analysis, I think here it's impossible to miss. Especially on the bridge, when the O's come in, like the one by one they'll fall, one less name to hate, those verses. And even on the verses, the main verses as well. Again, like I said, there's a softer presence to her. And then the chorus, it gets a little more powerful, a bit more emboldened, much more Giada's forte from what everybody will be familiarized to. But here, it's in specific places, it takes on this pause. And again, this softer energy that plays so well into the tone of the track. But again, it places this song in such a fresh position in my mind, because I haven't heard that before. Not from her. But again, it shows range. Very much like I said in terms of comparison to Federico Mondelli, in terms of his supporting vocals, right? I came across, as I said, Frozen Crown from Volturian, where he's another Fred besides Giada, much more substantiated Fred because he's the lead guitarist there, right? And there, I was under the impression that he was mostly a screamer. And he's got a pretty good, scream, and he's employed that on a couple of Frozen Crown tracks as well. But he's also done some softer stuff here, too. Like, he's done some songs as well where it's mostly him as the mainstay, like I Am the Tyrant, or he's been given some key sections. In the Dark, off of the Crown and Frost album, and the first one was off of The Fallen King. Again, for those of you, this is the first introduction, just for ease of foundation there, if you want to go find those tracks, and you should. I thought this piece was exquisite. Like I said, each piece so far off of Winterbane is taking on this refreshed feel, where it feels new, right? But still, classic. The Freds that normalize Frozen Crown as a talent in your mind, those key attributes are transferred over. But yet it's given this new personality that I'm finding truly intriguing with, again, exploration, a broadening. And you see many groups do that, across the metal and rock scenes, and maybe other genres generally, to be fair, right? Artists will try out their range in different respects to see if they can maybe embolden their artistic capabilities anywhere else and explore where they're gifted. And I think with Frozen Crown, this album's showing some new shades that I find embrace-worthy, quite frankly, at least in my opinion. Maybe you're sharing that. I'd love to hear down below if that is your position with The Water Dancer. Again, I love that name. Again, if you wish to disclose your perspective down below, what did you think of the piece? And what's your angle of approach? Long-time Frozen Crown fan? Fresher introduction for you? Whether it's complete first introduction, maybe you've heard a couple tracks thus far? How do you feel about it? I'd love to, again, as I said, if you wish to provide that, I'd love to have a connection made on that front. But I'm imagining most of us will be in agreement with this piece. Very strong, creatively speaking. It's a bit different, but it's specified, and I like that. Although I'll tell you going in, because again, I'm making my way through Winterbane, and as of the next track, we'll conclude on the selection, and then I'll be in the present day. I'm almost there with Call of the North. I cannot wait to hear the next track, though. Prelude, that's Angel or Angels? Angels in Disguise. And as I said, if you're familiar with how I came to Frozen Crown in my story and the presences on other groups, I think you're going to like who's a collaborative artist there. And I can't wait to hear it. I'm so excited for that one. We'll get to that. But The Water Dancer, great addition. Another fine, beautiful piece off of Winterbane, which this album is evolving beautifully. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.